Hi, beautiful souls. It's Shemri here from the Advanced Lightworkers discussion group on Facebook and the owner of Life Coaches Toolbox. And today, I don't know if practitioners are going to love me or hate me for what I'm about to do, but today I'm going to discuss alternative ways that you can use and apply energy healing. So for many people, they come to energy healing because somebody says to them something like, kind of like, if you go to this lady, she can help you get rid of that chronic medication, or they land up with something that's got to do with some sort of physical healing, or they might once or twice go through to a resonance repatterning practitioner because somebody recommended it, and then have, I don't know, a resonance repatterning session done or a Reiki session or something like that. And then that session will help them feel a little bit emotionally lighter, but they won't necessarily attach to it again. And because of that, what we find is that a lot of people who try energy healing try it sort of once or twice and then go away, or they do see a little bit of results, but because the integration period is 3 weeks after the session, you kind of get a thing where they don't necessarily correlate the results as being tied to the energy healing session. So people land up dismissing energy healing. And the way to effectively use energy healing modalities is to keep using them on a regular basis. So that's where this session comes in. What are the other places, in addition to physical healing or working on a physical ailment or an illness or a medication problem or something like that, that you can apply energy healing? So to start with, you can apply energy healing to anything mental, emotional, or spiritual that's happening in your world. So if you wake up and you are feeling like the rug has been pulled out underneath you and you've hit rock bottom, you can have a session just for that. If you all of a sudden find that the relation, you're not thinking positively about your partner anymore, or your kids, or your workplace, and you want to be positively orientated towards them, you can do that. So you can use energy healing to change your emotional state from anything to anything. And you can use energy healing to change your mental state and reorient you towards anything. Speaking of your mental state, you can also use energy healing practices for practical functionality. So when you've been doing lots of energy healing work and lots of spiritual stuff and that, and you really need to get focused at work again because you find that you don't have the same workflows you used to have, and you can't just sit down and write or get reports out or get through work like you used to, that's a great time to go and have a session too. But if your relationship with your coworker is falling apart, or all of a sudden your boss has started being nasty to you, or you find that you and your partner aren't getting along, you know what? You can have a session on that too. And then the session will either be done on you or across the actual relationship. Because there's 3 energies that exist in any relationship. There's person A, person B, and the energy that exists between them is the actual relationship itself. And that relationship, that energy, can be treated as a body and have a session done on it. It has beliefs that are the combination of your beliefs coming in and your partner's beliefs coming in, and those combined together to create a set of beliefs that is unique to the relationship according to how your energies interact. And that we can work on in energy healing. So you could find that you and your partner have drifted apart, or the sex isn't good anymore, and you can have a session done, and the session alone can clear it for you. Because it'll clear the tentacles, because it may be a past life influence that's come up, or a recent event that has triggered an active memory that one or two of you, or one of the two of you is remembering. And energy healing sessions are great for identifying all the possible places that could be causing this, because there are a number of places that it can come from. It can be your environment, an internal trigger, it can be an external trigger, it can be a memory, it can be something astrological that's happened in the stars, it can just be a new layer of release that's come up, it can be an organ has become overactivated and you've got specific memories stuck in that organ. And the really good energy healing modalities like coaching, like Reiki, like resonance repatterning, body talk, mirrors, working with shamans, things like that, will be able to look at all the possible places that could be causing you to experience a problem now. So speaking about relationships and workplaces and things like that, another really interesting way to use sessions is on teams and groups. So the first time I ever saw this done was somebody who used to present regular workshops and things like that. And what they would do is they would take the list of names of everybody who was attending their workshop or presentation the next day and give that to a resonance repatterning or body talk practitioner to run a session on. And the group collectively would have the session run on them before it, so that when they entered the presentation or the workshop, they would be most receptive to the learning that they could gain from that experience. So a very effective way to use energy healing is in advance to prepare yourself for certain situations. So we could do it like we did with the workshop now to make sure that the group is ready for that. Or you could do a performance setup. So if you know that you are giving a presentation on a certain day, I did this for a while. Every time I would give a presentation, I had a couple of bad experiences where I'd stalled during giving a presentation and the physical symptoms of fear had kicked in. My mouth had gone dry, my voice had gone shaky, and I hadn't been quite able to recover from that. So the next time I had a presentation where I had to speak, I went in beforehand and we ran a performance setup that kicked in on that day that I was going to speak, and did a bit of a mini session on my body, so that by the time I walked in to give my talk, I was relaxed and confident and calm, as if I'd just had a session before I walked in. But the other way to use it on groups instead of at an advance is again to deal with the relationships. So if you have a department where you've introduced a new manager or you've brought in a new employee, you can run a session on the group to make sure that that new person is integrated and welcomed into the group. If all of a sudden there's been an argument or a fight or somebody has left or there's been a disruption within the group, you can apply a session to the group to sort out the harmonies and energies that interact amongst the group and balance each individual within the environment again as well. The other things that you can use sessions for is programming and beliefs. So as you get further along your journey, you really start realizing it's all about ego and programming and beliefs. Before you really get to ego though, it's really all about programming and beliefs. It's like, what did my mom drill into me? What did my dad drill into me? What did they habitually do that became a habit for me? What karma is at play? What karmic influences are causing me to act in this way? And those kinds of energies can be identified by energy healing sessions and lifted. So resonance repatterning, most people will recognize that because in resonance repatterning you can go in with a list of statements, but you can do the same with any energy healing modality. Take the list of belief systems and the practitioner merely has to set it as an agenda or an intention beforehand. So one of the practices that I've incorporated very much over the last sort of 4 or 5 years is taking in the statements and using body talk sessions almost in the way that you use resonance repatterning sessions. So we go in with a fixed list of statements and beliefs, identifying primary matrices and belief systems systems, and then the practitioner sets that as an agenda beforehand, and then we often land up working on my spiritual body, Irene tells me, okay? But you can, depending on your practitioner's level of knowledge and how far you are willing to push it, you can explore and experiment and expand during this time the different healing modalities. Another very interesting thing to do is the twin flame push-pull, so balancing energies across you. So because the twin flame souls are linked and they're yin-yang related, there's this push-pull effect that happens on the energy. So one of you will get your energy up, and as that happens, the other one will go into a downer, and you never seem to be able to sort of come out of that, okay? I recommend daily conscious balancing exercises, but in order to get a kick started again, you can actually go for an energy healing session that balances the energies across you too, because within the session will recognize the one soul of the twin flame as one being and balance it across that. By the same token, you can use energy healing sessions in places like long distance relationships where you haven't had sex for a long time, or you're missing the human element of touch, or the fact that you are missing each other actually has become a hindrance to your communication and connection. Those types of energies can be lifted during a session. You can also be reorientated towards something or orientated away. So if you, for example, gone through a breakup, you and your ex-partner can be orientated away from each other so that you stop thinking about and focusing on each other. Similarly, you could use the session in reverse, and you could go, if you were trying to get back together with a partner or recover from an infidelity or recovering from getting back together after a breakup, you can use the session to reorient yourselves towards one another again. The fantastic thing about using sessions across relationships in this way is that you don't always need the other person's buy-in to consciously participate. You can go in alone, and the practitioner can do the session on the relationship, and you can experience the results even if your partner is not prepared to participate or go for a session themselves. The very last interesting way that I've been using healing sessions over the last sort of 5 years is, I'd say even 10 years, is past a point, as many of us do, the mental journey became my own thing. I could handle the mental completely on my own. Sometimes what I couldn't do is access things like the karma behind it or the active memories. As my intuition's improved, I've been able to do that on the mental level as well. But my body can't always keep up with what I throw at it mentally, and I'm really bad. So for those of you that are hectic, you might want to take notice of this. I'll do 5 or 10 guided meditations in a day if that's my new thing, or I'll read 2 books in a day. I'll read like 2 books on Kabbalah within a day, or I will have a healing today and I'll have another one tomorrow and I'll have another one the next day, or I'll spend like 4 days solidly just unpacking mirrors, and that takes its toll on you. So the first thing I always recommend is butterfly release, because I used to use body talk as a modality a lot. What used to come up most often in my sessions was the SB junction getting stuck, and I used to use body talk for that kind of support. But at the same time, when you're working like this, your lymph is going to get clogged, your meridians are going to get clogged. If you're processing a lot of anger, your liver will get clogged. If you're processing a lot of thought level stuff, you're going to have problems in gallbladder. Your chakras are going to get blocked. And for those of us that do a lot of work and tend to mess our stuff up a lot, the body support that something like body talk offers is absolutely incredible. Even if you only go in sort of once every month or once every couple of months, just to have a basic plumbing session. Open up your chakras, open up your meridians, and also body talk will focus on the other chakras apart from the main chakra. So hand and feet chakras, shoulder chakras, nipple chakras. You're going to get into all of the basics, rebalancing your brain. Sometimes when you've been working too much that you're either too over mentally focused to reconnect you to heart, or vice versa, where you're too much in heart and emotion, but you need to be more practically and mentally focused. Body talk is fantastic for helping your body and your system and your life keep up with the rigorous spiritual stuff that you're going to throw at it. If you are one of those very hard journeyers that likes to layer thing upon thing upon thing upon thing, body talk will give you the resources to actually just be able to manage it and keep up to date, so you don't keep getting sick all the time and you don't go into overload because you're not integrating the stuff properly. A final one that's really worth mentioning is hands-on oil clearings from shamans. So for many of us that have gone the energy healing route over the last few decades, everything was about it only being spiritual. There were those of us that got into the diet side of it and stuff like that, but a lot of us got into distance healing or only going for Reiki, and we didn't really support it with something physical. A massive breakthrough for me particularly was when I had my first oil-based hands-on clearing. Issues that I hadn't been able to shift as an advanced journeyer, ties that I hadn't been able to break, all of a sudden got significantly better. And the hands-on process of a shaman working directly on my body with oils and pushing the energies into place, getting everything aligned again, that on an ongoing basis, every few months or every few weeks, has actually made a massive difference. So if you are an advanced level journeyer who has been battling over the last few months, I strongly recommend you find a hands-on shaman and try something like an oil clearing, or go for something like body talk to support your system. If you're going to commit to the body talk and the oil clearing, as always, try and commit to at least like 4, 5, 6 sessions minimum. The plumbing can get hectic. Don't be surprised if after your first few plumbing sessions you land up getting like sick. I used to get sick for like a week sometimes, and I would see it would be like exactly a week, often to like the hour and minute that the session was. And it's just the meridian cycle processing. If you haven't been for body talk or something like that before, you are going to feel the effects of it. You know, when it kickstarts your meridian, connects, they call it group 1 through group 4, and connecting the head and then to the body again, and certain energy lines and stuff like that. It can be like going on a hectic fruit detox or a water detox, but it's on the emotional, mental, spiritual level. And then you get hit with like ascension flu symptoms and you're knocked flat cleanly for a week. Also lots of purging that can happen after the plumbing sessions. So don't be surprised if you wake up and you're nauseous or you're throwing up, especially if you've shifted hectic stuff around forgiveness and anger releases and things like that. Runny tummies and needing to wee lots, always. I remember we know that with healing already. So go in. Guys, the biggest thing is you can't really mess it up. You can't go in and make a mess of it, and if you do, the practitioner can fix it, and if they can't, there are more advanced people that can help you. The way you learn how to navigate the energy space is by experimenting. Some of the stuff you're going to screw up, some of the stuff you're going to do brilliantly at from the outset. Just keep going. Every eventuality has been catered for. You cannot do this wrong. Trust your intuition, it will lead you right. Trust yourself. Give yourself faith that you will be rewarded for that by seeing results. Please join us in the Advanced Lightworkers discussion group. There are over 130 free strategies and resources available to you on the Life Coaches Toolbox website. Please go and take a visit. There's no strings attached, no accounts. They are there to help because we love you. Please take advantage of the YouTube channel, and please let us know if you are battling. Join us on the Advanced group, and we look forward to meeting you and getting to know you. Unicorns out!